Alright, yo, what's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video right here. My name is 2 Leader J. We're back with another Sacramento Truth Movement video right here. What's cracking? And this one, I just wanted to drop in for a little brief moment. I just had something on my mind, and I thought I would want to get that off and get it right across while I still have the vocabulary to do so. So what's good? So as the title says, this video is talking about putting yourself, your own self, like me, your own self, in a mental condition, a mental gymnastics, a mental psychosis. And a lot of people do this actually, so this is kind of why I want to talk about it. And I'll provide 2 examples regarding that right after this. But putting yourself in a mental psychosis. Necessarily, how would you do that? If you're aware of the certain thing that you're thinking of, wouldn't you not be able to put yourself in a mental psychosis? Necessarily, how would that work? How would that look? You know, and a lot of people may have questions surrounding that. And I've regarded this myself because I've been on the breakthrough, or I've been on the crossroads of like where I'm about to start doing it. But I've come to the assumption and the realization that I'm at that turn, at that point. So I go back to a normal, higher vibrational thinking process. You know, I'm not falling for you know, these tricks, these mental tricks that I'm pulling on myself. But the way that goes, you must understand what a psychosis is. You know, and I'm not going to get all into definitions and psychological, you know, descriptions and stuff. You can go look that up all on your own. But you must know what a psychosis is and how they work, and actually how you could fall for your own psychosis. And then at the end of this portion right here talking, I'm going to explain how you may actually put other people in psychosis, you know, if that works out, you know, in your favor. And sometimes it kind of does, but we're not gonna keep that on the hush. So we'll do this description wise. You must know what a psychosis is in order to understand it. I'm not going to get into the definition of it because we'll be here for a while. You must know how it works. And then you must know, part 3, how a person thinks, how they operate mentally, and also physically wise, what they're going through and what they've been through, and i.e. yourself, because this would also reflect on you. So when I say person, it's more of, it's singular, it's not plural, you know. So you must know what they've been through, you must know what they're thinking, you must know what their thought process is, because if you want to do it, then, you know, that's how you're going to want to go about it. So how would I do this imagery wise that this would look out very well? Let's go for like the cult religious aspects, because a lot of people really put themselves in psychosis, in a psychosis state, that they don't realize it, but they actually have. And that's the, you know, the gist about what I'm getting. So we'll use, like, who would I say? Concave Earth Sam Owen. Now this guy for a while has, this is a very good description of a psychosis mindset that you fall for. You have a guy who's maybe a little bit off his rockers, but, you know, kind of functional, you know, as a normal societal member, if you want to put it like that, years ago. And he joins this cult mindset of where they say the earth is concave. Now, you already have a guy claiming to be the reincarnation, the incarnation of the modern day Christ. His name was Lord Stephen Christ. So you have this guy believing this. And at one point, he had his wife also believe in this, but you know, that's personal. I'm not going to get into that, but she's no longer around. And then we'll get into like the damaging side of this in a second. So you have somebody cult-wise already claiming to be Christ. You have followers believing he is Christ, but you know, maybe not too thinking wise if he is or not. You know, that's up to the individual. But you have somebody claiming to promise concave earth. That's the solution. That's the basis. You have concave earth. Now you have the individual, Sam Owen. Now Sam is off his rocker already. So he enters something called concave earth. Now slowly over the years, it begins to escalate really to where he's at now. So I ran into Sam a couple years ago when he was here a couple years ago on my 2-liter J for the Real Worldwide Hood Star page. He was never claiming to be Christ. Ain't that something? He was never saying he was Jesus at that time. Or maybe he was, but no, I don't think he was. Or he might have been in the early stages of it. But yeah, at one point he didn't believe in Christ. He believed in Christ, he didn't believe himself to be Christ. And then slowly over the years, you can see where he's thought about it, but wasn't sure. Thought about it more, is more, you know, on the wall with it. No, below he's on the wall with it. He's becoming more of like familiar with it, you know, still questioning it. Getting to this point, still questioning it, but actually referring to Christ titles. At this point, he's escalated where he actually is this guy, but he don't remember being him, and you know, he's like there's still questions to the very top now where he's this guy, and he's actually making labels where he's the reincarnation of Christ from the Edomite nation. You know, he's Christ. He's the modern day Jesus. Bring him 10,000 troops so we can get the concave kingdom going along. That's a psychosis right there. He fell for, you know, the mental gymnastics of that. Now, that is damaging in itself if you're not mentally stable for it. Me, I'm a higher vibrational, you know, person. So sometimes the mind may shift and operate on its own in this kind of instance, but I'm not as Sam. Like, Sam's right here, I'm right here. You know what I'm saying? He's down here, so he'll fall for the mental mind tricks of the brain operating on its own. Me, not necessarily, you know, much. And there's a lot of people like this. Another individual I want to mention is if we take a trip into the lolcow community. We'll take a trip into the lolcow community with Chris Chan. If anybody doesn't know who Chris Chan, as I said, I'm not getting into definition, but look her up on YouTube and you'll understand who they are. But Chris, not too long ago, Chris Chan was just a normal he was trolled, but just as an average, you know, person. And over the time, people influenced him to believe that there's like a Rick and Morty paradigm where all these fictional characters that people make from cartoons and media live, and they're eventually going to merge with our world and become one. You look it up, it's called the dimensional merge. That's what Chris Chan calls it. And these are his trolls feeding him shit. And over the years, you can see where he wasn't sure about it, but now is gun-ho and believes in it. It's crazy. But then he went to prison. I'm not going to say whys, but if you look him up, you'll probably figure out why he went to prison. It's really sick and fucking disgusting. So he went to prison, and while in prison, more people are feeding him this idea that he's Jesus now. He's the reincarnation of Jesus as a transgender. And so, like, there's escalations. These are low vibrational beings, but they're very low on the totem pole. You have this, Here's the totem pole, and then you have the people down here. People on the bottom of the totem pole still falling for shit, but the people down here are more likely to fall for it than anything. This is where Sam is. This is where Chris Chan is. Absolutely, you know, it's sad. Now, the damaging side of this is because if you have family, you know, so you'll start slowly seeing stuff slowly diminish. You may end up in certain situations that you can't fix because you done, you know, ruined it, you know. It's hard. So at that point, you might need to seek psychological help. This is what MK Ultra is. This is how they control these celebrities out here. It's blackmail, of course, but it's mind control. They get them thinking certain things, and then poof, you know, you get people like Britney Spears and, you know, fucking Hannah Montana. What's her name? Miley Cyrus and Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber and Beyonce and all these people and Rihanna and Nicki Minaj, and they all have alter egos because there's a spiritual aspect along this side as well. But I'm not going to get into this kind of video. They'll be kind of separate. It's more of MK Ultra, mind control, demonic possession, and alter egos, and, you know, stuff like that in that realm. But they all play in a larger proportion, and they're all connected spiritually and physically and mentally, because all that is all the same thing. So it's damaging, but you can put yourself in a psychosis. If you want to look more into it, I suggest looking into, you know, psychology, you know, definitions. I'm not a psychologist. I'm just talking based off of experience as a man, as a person, and as an individual, because you can do that. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not claiming to be something that I'm not. But I've caught myself on numerous occasions starting to believe stuff about myself that necessarily wouldn't be very accurate, if you want to put it like that. And I've caught myself, and I fixed that situation so I'm not heading into a psychotic mind state or psychosis, you know. But that's about it. But you can also take this information, and if you study the mannerisms, the mentality, and, you know, the dynamic of how somebody speaks, writes, you can even do it online. That's how a lot of these trolls influence these locales, because they study the mannerisms, the dynamic, how they think, how they operate, what they post, what they watch, what they do. You got to monitor people, and this would be like a scientific experiment if somebody was a psychologist to do, but necessarily not in that kind of instance. But you can influence people to develop a psychotic mind state, a psychosis. I think I'm saying psychotic mind state wrong. A psychosis mind state. I don't know. But you can put somebody in that kind of mind state, because I've done it a couple times, and it's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. And so I reflected on those and corrected myself and helped those people correct the damage that I've caused onto them. Just throwing that out there. If anybody was wondering, the words that I'm saying, this is all based on experience and based on, you know, watching people and stuff. You watch somebody, you study their mannerisms, their speech patterns, what they think, what they like, what they watch, what they do, how they type, if you're online, how they type, in person, how they talk, you know, just who they are. Just basically who they are in a sense. Take that, develop a way to introduce stuff to them, so when you can tell if they're higher vibrational being people or low vibrational being people, low on the totem pole. If they're low on the totem pole, then it's easier to influence and introduce new ideas to them that necessarily they never would have heard of, and be quick on adopting if you make it seem very logical and very making sense to them for them to accept. And, you know, bam, you got them by the balls. So to go about that, you know, study who they are, what they do, everything that I just listed a second ago. Approach that, find a way to introduce to them, so you can do like a buddy troll or operation, or you can just be their friend and introduce them to your scientific experiment on introducing them into a psychosis mindset. Just don't let them know. So what you want to do is, if they're like talking, agree with them, but the bad thing to do is introduce new ideas to them that you don't want them being introduced to. So it's best not to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because if you do that, then there's a problem there, and it may fail on what you're trying to do. But if you accomplish that, then you're on the route to seeing this finally accomplish and see the end result on what's going to happen. And all that is based on interpretation, and all that is based on speculation, and all that is based on the individual themselves. So study them, befriend them, or sideline influence them if you don't want to befriend them. Do that. Introduce what you want to introduce to them, and then study them being affected by that. And then let's see what else. See how that turns out, and keep on going with it. Just whenever there's never really a turning point to where this ends. It's like up, down. It's all over the place. You never know when it's going to end or when it's going to stop. So when you do that, that's just how it's going to pan out. A lot of troll people do this. I maybe not directly doing it, but it's a form of it. So I just thought I would hop on here and say that out. I've been meaning to do this for, I think, for a couple years now, to voice this out. But I've been having a lot of free time on my hands, so and I actually been having the vocabulary to get this across, so I actually got time to do it and have the words and the speech patterns and the clear mindset to do it. So here it is, you know what I'm saying? So fucking God, hell, I hate you right now. The psychosis, how to put yourself in a psychosis, and how into a psychosis, and how to put others into a psychosis. So yeah, that's about it. That's all I really wanted to say. If I have anything else to think of, I'll cut back on here with the part 2. Let me know how you think about this. This is 2 Liter J, Sacramento Truth Movement. I'll catch y'all later. Peace out. See y'all soon.